Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank. Busey, your dream, our promise.
Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette. Today we're joined by three local nonprofits, Basic Dignities, Naperville Senior Task Force, and the Young Naperville Singers. You're watching Spotlight, and joining me now from Basic Dignities is Tricia Fragan and Brittany Sterling. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. And Tricia, we're going to start with you. Remind our viewers, what is Basic Dignities?
Sure. Basic Dignities was founded to do one significant project at a time in order to change the lives of an entire community. So we've done water projects, we've helped people south of the border stay as long as needed before they cross over by sending necessities like food and changes of clothes and toiletries, things like that. We helped a school in Kenya reopen after COVID by providing them with desks and books and cups for drinking water because they were stuck closed until every student had their own everything. And recently we have started a scholarship program for women in underdeveloped countries who are interested in doing university education for medicine, engineering, or education.
All very much needed, right? Because
Yes.
You're working in a lot of undeveloped countries, right? And places that really need those basic dignities, right? So talk a little bit, Brittany, about what you're doing with the scholarships, because that's new, obviously, but also, it's foundational. It's very educational and it pays it forward. So talk about that.
Sure. So we're focusing on young women who want to go into the STEM field. And we're really looking for students that are community-minded, that really want to give back to their communities. They want to stay in their hometowns, and they really want to build up, where they're from. And so we have a couple students in Kenya, some in Malawi, some in Uganda, and then a few in Gabon. And so just off the top of my head, a couple of our students that have really, made a big impact on us. We have one student, Aria. She is a nursing student in Uganda. And she's just really driven, and she has seen people suffering her whole life in her community, in her village, from not having sufficient nursing care, and specifically in the OB field. And so she really wants to go back to her community, study nursing, and become a midwife and study OB nursing, and go back and be able to help the women in her village. We also have an education student, Jemima. She is in Kenya. She wants to study either teach chemistry or biology when she graduates.
Okay.
And she just talks about how important the sciences are and how important it is to get women involved in the sciences. She said science is the future. And it's so great to see, that drive and how she wants to bring up, people around her as well.
Yeah. Now, okay, so you're in lots of different places.
Absolutely.
How are you connecting there? What's the process?
Sure. So we have been really fortunate just through other nonprofits, through kind of personal connections. We've met just a lot of people and a lot of people that really want to make an impact. So everyone that we have connected with, we've made through a personal connection. So we have one person in each country that we're calling our boots on the ground, our mentors. And so we are bringing them in and having them kind of act as a mentor to our students on the ground. So the students in Malawi, they have a woman that they work with, they can go to if they're having issues with school, issues with roommates, anything like that, since we're not there.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
and you're just building that larger network, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now Tricia, all of these things are not without challenges, right? And particularly when you're working with multiple different countries. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that. How do you deal with those?
So one of the biggest challenges, unfortunately, is even just how to get the funds to the people that need them. We are paying tuition to the university, but we also have a stipend going to the students so that they can actually afford to live and eat. We have had students who literally did not have any food, and they couldn't focus on their studies because they were so hungry. So we provide for rent and some food. We will occasionally give them funds to travel home during school breaks and for special holidays. But again, when you're working with these nations, because there's so much corruption in the governments, a lot of the time we have no way of getting the funds to them. We have, to send a bank transfer costs us $50. Sometimes $70 is all a student needs to live on for a semester.
So hard to put that money into the transfer, right?
So we try to make every dollar count that comes in to go directly toward them, but we need people who are willing to say, okay, we'll help you take care of these fees so that you can keep taking care of the students. In addition, you know, we've gotten the funds to these young women, and some of them come from remote villages, have known poverty all their life, and they get this money and go, what do I do now? And this is what actually led to getting those boots on the ground mentors for each of the students who could help them work through that, whether by teaching them about budgeting or only giving them a little bit of money at a time to cover their actual immediate expenses, because we were finding that it was making them nuts. They just didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to handle it. So along with the education they are getting from the university, they're also getting practical life skills on how to manage money.
Yeah, and that is so important. I mean, we talk about that with our own youth, right?
Yes.
It's that whole, very practical, daily, in and out, how do I manage a budget? And if you've never experienced that, then that is something you've got to kind of learn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brittany, talk a little bit. I mean, you've talked about the challenges, and they're always numerous. And I think for many nonprofits, it's always how do you make those dollars go as far as they possibly can? And so they're always the working dollars, not the non-working dollars, which is like bank transfer fees, right? But what are the things that you're most proud of and the best part about doing this work?
Yeah, oh my gosh, getting to know the students has been just incredible. These are some really incredible young women who want to change the world, and when you talk to them, they're just so driven and they have, these huge dreams, and you think, they're smart young women, and to be able to give them the opportunity to go to school and, possibly achieve these dreams has just been incredible for us. It's been really cool to be a part of. So.
Yeah, one person at a time, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. Tricia, what's next?
So we are going to continue running this program as long as we possibly can, because if you look in Jewish or Muslim teaching, it talks about if you take one life, you've taken a nation, and if you save one life, you've saved a nation. So maybe by educating one person at a time, we can educate a nation and change their world. But we also are missing the big project portion of what we do. So we are going to circle back to probably doing another water project. And since Brittany is the water engineer by trade, I'm going to turn it over to her to talk about what we're going to do for a water project.
And she's going to talk right over my head with the water engineering, but go, Brittany, go!
No, absolutely not. So we're planning on doing another water project in Soy, Kenya. And so it's a small community. We're looking at putting in a sustainable system like we've done before. So it'll be a solar-powered pump. A lot of these areas don't have consistent power. So if you put in something that needs to run off the grid, it doesn't always work. So we're looking at solar power, and we're also looking at putting as kind of a centralized tank so people from the community, as long as they can walk there, will be able to use it.
Okay.
In addition, we try to use locally sourced resources, so local tanks, local piping, local contractors, any way that we can get money into the local economy and really build them up is our focus as well. So.
Yeah, I love that, because it's not just about the long-term impact of the project itself, it's the project in the development is also having an impact on the community. And I would think with the solar power, sustainable, which is also a big part. So
critical.
It's kind of like a double win, right?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and what are you thinking? What's kind of your projection if you were like, okay, everything goes well, what do we think?
Oh gosh, in terms of timeline?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we were hoping to have all the funds raised to do the water project possibly at the beginning of next year. So we try to work around rainy versus dry season.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
Sure, it's a lot easier to drill, obviously, in the dry season when you're not, working through all the mud. And their dry season is going to be our winter, and so January, February, that time frame. So as long as we can raise the funds, that's our hope. So.
Okay, well, we're going to keep our fingers crossed for you that you can.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you both for coming on, for sharing the new work that you're doing, and I'm excited for you to go back to a project that I know was a big part of you guys getting started. So
thank you so
exciting.
much.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And if you are interested in learning more about Basic Dignities, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Spotlight.
Growing your family, opening your own business, retiring to travel, leaving your legacy. At Busey Bank, we know there's a lot to look forward to. and a lot of planning along the way. Celebrate your life's milestones by putting your money to work. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
We live in a safe community, but not a crime-free community. If you see something, say something. Be a Naperville Crime Stopper.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette, and joining me now from the Naperville Senior Task Force are Rob Williams and Lisa Kirchner. So nice to have you both with me.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I'm going to start out with you, Rob. So talk a little bit about, kind of the whole area of affordable housing with seniors, because it's a challenge.
It definitely is a challenge, and this is a challenge that we're finding nationwide, not just here in Naperville. But we just want to focus, at least that's what we do in the Senior Task Force, is focus on Naperville and the issues that are confronting seniors trying to find affordable housing. So we find that affordable housing is really difficult in Naperville because it is a higher income community in general. And there are lots of folks, lots of seniors who want to stay in Naperville after they retire, but when they find themselves on a more fixed income, finding an affordable place is tougher. So by definition, affordable housing means you spend 30% or less of your monthly income on housing. And that's difficult to do here. Also, we have found that the federal government would like, by their standards, to have at least 10% of a community's housing as affordable housing. In Naperville right now, we have about 7%, and we've really struggled to get any higher than that.
Yeah.
So what we do is work with the city council, work with developers, work with other folks who are in the housing industry to try and convince them that they need to provide that at least 10% minimum for affordable housing for seniors. We have developed a guide that will help people decide. It's called a design guide, and we worked with the AARP to develop that. So there's a whole 3-page checklist of things that should be in a home where seniors are living. Something as simple as having a lever door handle instead of a doorknob. Wider hallways for walkers and wheelchairs if that becomes a necessity. Grab bars in the bathrooms. Sockets, light sockets or electrical sockets that are about 30 inches off the floor, so you don't have to bend over as far to plug
Need
something
to be able to get
in.
back up, right?
Yes. And I know that one. So it's, all those things come into play.
Sure.
Once we convince a developer to add seniors as someone who's going to live with them or use one of their units or housing, then we go with them with the checklist and say, okay, this is going to be a senior apartment. Here's what you need to do. Here's what we'd like to see you do to make it more user-friendly for seniors.
It's kind of the opposite end of child-proofing your home, right?
Exactly.
It's really senior-proofing your home, and we're all going to get there. That's the piece that we have to remember.
Well,
we will
we
all
hope
get there.
we will, yeah.
Yes,
and
well, that's true. Right, good point. Good point.
But that's the idea.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Well, and I'm going to sort of transition a little bit with Lisa, because another big area that you're working on with the Senior Task Force is the whole dementia-friendly America, but you've got a really big project here with dementia-friendly Naperville.
Correct.
So talk a little bit about that.
So Dementia Friendly America and Dementia Friendly Naperville are organizations that seek to increase awareness, reduce stigma, and increase support for people living with dementia in our communities. So we've instituted a number of different programs. Our most successful at this point is the Memory Cafe. And the Memory Cafe was started to increase socialization for people living with dementia as well as their care partners, because they're often isolated because of the disease. So this gives them a chance to socialize with other people in similar situations, get out of the house for a while. We hold the Memory Cafes once a month on the second Tuesday of every month at the Naperville Public Library, 95th Street,
Okay.
from 2 to 3:30. And we do different activities each month, usually based on the time of year. And so we'll do arts, some craft projects, lots of games, music. From time to time we have guest speakers, educational speakers, and of course we always have refreshments, because what would a cafe be without food
Absolutely.
and drinks?
Some food and drink, yes,
That's
please.
right, that's right. And it also gives them a chance to form support networks,
Yeah.
and share, ideas and how are you going about this, or, sharing ideas for caregiving and so forth.
Yeah, I think, it's having experience with different people, it can be so isolating, as you said. And I think particularly as you talk about the caregivers,
Right.
Sometimes it's like the person who's actually experiencing it is quite fine,
Right.
but the person who's having to cope with that transition and see it play out with a loved one, they're often the ones that really need that support and that help and that socialization, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And so this gives, helps both of them. And we're really proud of that program. We're increasing participation each month as the word starts to get out more and more. And everybody seems to have a really good time while they're there, both the person living with dementia and their care partners.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and such an important thing, and I think we're so lucky in this community that you as a task force are raising those conversations, right? Because it's all about, you talked about the resource guide, but it's about elevating conversation and awareness, and the more people we get talking about it, the more ideas we get about it, the more
Absolutely.
positive direction.
Yep.
Well, in addition to the wonderful things that Lisa does with that program, we have just developed a dementia-friendly Naperville resource guide. And it's pretty substantial. It's 33 pages. It can be downloaded from our website. And that covers a lot of things that caregivers don't know about, or that the legal, financial, just everyday things that caregivers need to know, resources that they may need in the community that a lot of them aren't aware of. And this has just been a great item for us to develop, is the resource guide. We used to have a trifold resource guide that was not all that substantial, but this one is a 33-page guide book that will help caregivers through a lot of things. And it's going to become even more important. A lot of our viewers don't know there are more people in the United States over the age of 65 than under the age of 18.
Yeah.
So this is something that's going to keep growing for quite a few years, we feel.
Yeah.
And so it's important for us to get a handle on the resources that are going to be needed.
Well, and I think when you're in it, it can feel very overwhelming, right? So to be able to access resources that somebody who isn't feeling overwhelmed and trying to figure it all out, that's really providing that advocacy, that partnership, and what one would hope that a good community like Naperville would be putting forward and onto the table, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Lisa, talk about, because it's a great, we know Rob, he's a fun guy, but talk about what's been some of the best parts about being part of the senior task force.
I have to say, first of all, it's so rewarding working with such great people that all share the same passion, and that's to help seniors in our community, and especially those living with dementia. And then the other rewarding part is obviously the Memory Cafe for me. I have a personal connection to dementia. I have a grandmother and a father-in-law that both suffered with the disease, and I had wished at that time there would be something like this for them, to help both them and their caregivers at the time. So it really warms my heart when I see, our participants come in each month with big smiles on their faces and enjoying whatever activity we're doing and laughing and helping support one another. And hearing, things like we just made their day. And
what a nice legacy, right?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And, that they look forward to coming each month. And so that just really warms my heart.
That's wonderful. Well, and I thank you for the work that you're doing, because, as I say, we like to think we're all going to get to that senior
That's right.
stage in life. and would like to be where we've, built our life, if you will. The whole idea of moving suddenly away from where you built your life seems very foreign to me, but that's just me. So thank you so much for all the good work you're doing in the community. We really appreciate it on behalf of all the current seniors and those of us who will be seniors not too distant future. So thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And to find out more about the Naperville Senior Task Force, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Spotlight.
Busey Bank is proud to partner in building business and growing wealth since 1868.
Stay in the know at home or on the go with NCTV 17 News Update. This quick recap of everything happening in and around town will be delivered straight to your email inbox for free. Sign up today.
Welcome back to Spotlight. And joining me now from the Young Naperville Singers is Angie Johnson. Welcome, Angie.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you with us. And you really, and I spoke to your organization through COVID, and my goodness, you weathered and got creative. But talk a little bit about now we're through it. What does it look like for you now? How many kids? How many choirs? What's the news?
Yes, so we weathered it well, and that was largely due to all of our support, like our community, our families. There was a good foundation, and boy, they just came behind us and rallied with tons of support. And we were just determined to do whatever it took to keep kids singing. So whether that was singing outside in the pavilions, or we were on Zoom, or whatever we could do, we kept kids singing. And so now, post-COVID, we had 10 choirs this year. We're adding an 11th in the fall, and we are currently at 450 singers, which is an all-time high, even from before COVID.
That's awesome.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
We can't believe it. we're kind of pinching ourselves because it's a little bit of an anomaly even across the country, and I really think it's due to the support of our families and our community and grants in the local community that have supported us. So yes, we're very excited about that. Our new choir, Voci, means voices, and it will be catered to kindergartners. So now with our Music Together program, which is for preschool, we will reach preschool all the way through seniors in high school.
That's wonderful. I mean, that really is kind of giving kids that opportunity to grow, and whole families potentially to grow as they all age through together. It's something that all kids in the family could do, right?
Yes, so it really is a family experience.
Yeah.
We like to welcome everybody and say, welcome to the YNS family. You're all going to be involved in some level. We had 31 seniors. 4 of them have been with YNS for 12 years.
That's amazing.
So we call that our 12-year club, which I think is remarkable.
It speaks a lot, right?
Yes.
It does speak a lot. Well, and to that point, you're starting your 40th anniversary season in the fall.
Yes.
That's an incredible accomplishment right there. So what have you got planned?
So 40th anniversary, number one, I just can't believe that.
Right? You're not old enough for that.
No, well, and I have not been around 40 years. So this is my 24th year. So I'll be celebrating 25 years next year with YNS. But when I think back to all of the growth, there's just so much to celebrate. So our goal is we're just going to celebrate all year. So 40 performances across the community, 40 people you should know, anything we can think of around the number 40. Then we're bringing in special guests and clinicians, and anything we do, we're saying we're just going to take it to the next level and really do it up big next year. So the kids have just a wide variety of experiences. We are commissioning at least 4 brand new choral works from composers, and then those will be world premieres. And then they will go into print, and they will always say, commissioned by the Young Naperville Singers in honor of their 40th anniversary. So that's going to be great fun.
That's awesome. That's exciting.
It is exciting. It's
fun.
I
remember speaking with you, during COVID, one of the things that I think you so brilliantly did was bringing in those educators and giving kids the opportunity to connect with people, whether they're composers or other singers, and to, again, keep that educational piece and that curiosity piece going, right?
Yeah, the question was not what we can't do. The question was, well, what can we do?
Yeah.
What does this provide us an opportunity? Let's get creative. What can we do that we don't normally have time for?
Right.
And it was really a creative challenge. that I really enjoyed personally. I'm glad it's over.
Yeah. Now, you go overseas, which I'm very jealous of, internationally. If I could sing, maybe I could go overseas and sing, but I can't, so I'll just go overseas. But you take choirs overseas. So what have you got planned for this summer? Where are you going? And who's going?
We appealed to our 3 oldest choirs, the Bella Voce, Bello Cantare, and Canto Vivo, and we said it's time, let's start traveling again, and we are going to travel over and go to Switzerland, Germany, and northern Italy.
Okay.
We're going to give a series of concerts, and then of course we pop up, we sing everywhere we go. So we anticipated that we would have a good-sized group because we haven't gotten to travel in a long time, but we were blown away. We have the largest tour choir traveling that we've ever had, 104 singers, I think.
Oh my gosh.
So there's about 125 of us total, 125, 130 of us going this summer for 10 days. And we can't wait. We can't wait to just go explore.
Yeah.
And they learn to perform, but they also learn to interact with the people all around them.
Yes.
The connections they make with each other is really powerful. So we just take our community and we want to go share it internationally.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and so I think that kind of leads me to my next question, right, Angie? Because obviously the singing is important, and I know that that's, at the bedrock of your organization. But you also are really focused on young people in general, and the international tours and just what you said about that is part of that. So give us a little bit more about why you think YNS is so helpful in the lives of young people.
So we know, especially post-COVID, I've been thinking about this a lot. We know one of the biggest problems right now facing young people is just the loneliness factor. And they were isolated for so long. So I thought about how is it that we weathered this so well? Well, even on Zoom, you had this connection once a week with at least people that you felt very connected to. And that was very powerful. Music is our tool. I like to say music is the tool in which we connect and create community. Yes, they're learning great vocal technique, and yes, they're learning about diverse types of music. But when they leave us, they're talking about, I learned how to be a great leader. I learned how to care about other people. I learned how to talk to other people. This was my home away from home. And at the end of the day, you're like, but what about the music? And you know that that's at the heart of what they loved.
Right.
But it's deeper than that. Music is your tool for really reaching young people and enabling them to be themselves and to connect to one another. Because the voice is personal.
Yeah.
My voice is not it's on the inside of my body. So when I sing, I'm sharing a piece of myself. So we have to work very hard, and we're very intentional about creating this atmosphere where they feel like they belong. And in order for me to feel like I belong, I need to be known. So who are you? Let's get to know you. Let's get to know one another. Then they begin to sing freer. And there's something magical about that.
Yeah,
when they feel safe.
It's a safe environment in which to really try to hit those notes.
That's right.
Maybe sometimes I do them, maybe I don't. If you're Jane, you never hit them. But, for those that have talent, it gives you that freedom, right?
Yes, and we have kids, we really like to say we're a place for kids who love to sing. They're not all talented, and that's a common misconception because when they hear the groups, they think, oh my goodness, they're amazing. But that's what happens when you bring together young people that all love to sing, and you work together as a team. And our staff are really, from the office to the board, to parents who are in the room every week, to our directors and our companies. You can have everything, but if you don't have the right people on the bus, it isn't going to work. And we've got people that, on every team, that primarily, they love music, but they love young people even more.
That's awesome.
And that's really what makes Young Naperville Singers special.
So as we wrap up on that thought, if I'm listening to you and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to know more, I want to audition, what's the process like for auditioning?
Very easy. Go to the Young Naperville Singers website, or you can call our office, but you just click on Learn More, the audition button. It'll take you, and you can fill out the form, and then we'll give you a call, and we'll have you come in. We audition 3rd through 12th graders.
Okay.
And when they walk in, the goal is we want them to feel comfortable, and we want them to leave with a smile. So they come in, and we just do a series of music activities that are designed to put kids at ease. They leave with a little small gift from us, and then we're quickly able to return around and say, we think this is the right choir for your child. So we're going to find the right place for every voice for them to best grow.
That's wonderful.
And we are already started. In fact, they're running auditions right now as I speak.
Okay, so people need to get
in there, yes.
Get on that website
Yes.
and go check it out. Listen, we are so glad that you dropped by, and we wish you all the best for the international tour. Make
Thank
sure you
you.
send back pictures. And then, obviously, as you launch your 40th, we'll be looking for all those 40th activities.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And for more information about the Young Naperville Singers, please go and visit their website. I'd like to thank all of my guests for joining us today on Spotlight, and our friends at Busey Bank for their generous sponsorship of today's show. To learn more about the organizations featured on this episode, please go and visit our website at nctv17.org. And to stay informed about what's happening in our community, sign up to receive our daily news update and like and follow us on social media. For Spotlight, I'm Jane Wernette. Thanks for watching.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank. Busey, your dream, our promise.